A conservative media watchdog analyzed the network news nightly broadcast from Inauguration Day until April 8th. You're already nodding at me, Mary Josephine, you know what's coming. It found 92% of coverage of the president and his administration was negative. Look at the screen. 92% of anything is a lie. Over that same time period in his first term, that number was 89%. So not too different from the first term, very high. Compare that to their coverage of former President Biden's first 100 days, 59% positive. Despite this, a new poll shows that when it comes to handling the nation's main problems, voters say they trust Trump over congressional Democrats by a 7-point margin. Jay, that sounds like a problem.
It is a problem. I think that there is not a single person that we can look to in the Democratic Party right now to say that that's our leader. However, with that being said, I think taking the one person who's there over a party is also quite dangerous because of some of the things that he's done. Taking away due process from folks is not okay. He's quick to call out when he feels like his rights are being infringed upon, and yet the Fifth Amendment says that every person, it doesn't specify citizens, it says every person shall have due process.
So we don't guarantee constitutional rights to certain illegal aliens, particularly when they are suspected of violent crimes, which is why we have a finalized deportation list. And it's pretty clear. And I think some of the cases that are public now, individuals were on that. So where are you saying that due process? I mean, to even get to that point, they must have gone through process.
Due process. Okay, so let's look at President Trump as an example. We call him a felon because he has been convicted of felonies. Some of these folks, without the actual due process, do not technically qualify as illegal immigrants because they have never had their cases heard. Now,
well, wait, how did they get here is the question.
That's fine. But, you know, there is, just like we say when someone is allegedly being accused of something, it's the same process, right? However they got here, due process is what gives them that status of being illegal or not. So without that process, you're essentially just taking up people off of the streets, giving them this without their actual process and deporting them. Now, am I saying some of these people should not have been deported? No.
Do we agree that if you come across our border in an illegal manner that you have committed your first crime?
I believe you are entitled to due process.
That is the
Yeah, so exactly. You're entitled to due process, and it is due process itself that determines whether or not you came across the border illegally. How hard is that to understand? I'll give Harris Faulkner credit here that she is pretty smart. She's good at staying on her feet and handling this guy. But this guy, he got the better of that argument. He was more principled. You know, he wasn't just saying rah, rah, illegal immigrant, bad. And he wasn't saying they were good either. He was saying some of them should be deported. Some of these violent, terrible people who commit horrific crimes, they should be deported ASAP. But the fact of the matter is that you can't violate due process. And he's pointing this out here. He's sticking to his guns, and it's really well done. You know, he points out you need the due process to determine whether or not they are illegal. Otherwise, you know what the president can do? He can just label anyone he doesn't like illegal and then have them deported. That's what happens when you don't have due process. It's a very dangerous precedent to set. And yeah, people are saying, oh, there could be American citizens deported during this administration, people who are clearly born here. And yet Trump just says, oh yeah, they're an illegal immigrant or something. Will he start doing that with his enemies in the media? I don't know. How far will he go? I don't know. But this sets a horrific precedent. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This was really well done by this Democrat voter, Jay here. Good job, Jay. If you're watching this, please feel proud. Like, comment, or subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I will speak to you in my next video.